Drumming, it transcends spaces. It takes one into another plane. But only, I think, if you're open to it, that's what music can do to you. Because there's people who their spirit and soul are not open to be penetrated in that way. I think for me, music and drumming, it's like an act of being in love, where something in you awakens. Because when you truly are in love, and I'm not talking about loving someone, but in love itself, something in you awakens, something in you. The divine in you awakens, and that's what music does. It awakens you. So it's been very long since we've had this. I think we didn't even... When was the last time we did this? I think it's when I just came back. We haven't done it because there's been a whole lot of other things, and there's 3 social media network platforms that people say, we're not on Instagram, do Twitter, we're not on Twitter, we're on Facebook. It's a, it's a bit of a trickster one. But since we are heading 30 very soon, we are becoming 30 very soon. So I'm gonna do 1 today, and I'm gonna do 2 next week, 1 on Twitter and 1 on Facebook, as a saying thank you for the love and support. And it's going to be a Q&A. So tonight we're having a Q&A, so that means we don't have a topic. So I'm here to respond to your questions. But like I always say, that take this as guidance. It's not a medical diagnosis, it's not a spiritual diagnosis. It's and whatever I'm going to give to you, take what serves you and what works for your heart and what makes sense for you. However, some of us are still very much afraid to take the necessary steps to do the things that we need to do to get right within ourselves, because it's such a convenience thing to catch Gogo on Instagram or to slide me a DM afterwards and want me to give you guidance. But we all know, Uguti, I need to take off my socks, rather than doing the right thing, because some things will my cold. Some things will never go away until you do something about it. No matter how much advice. I'm sure there's people who say Instagram, let me slide in my dream, Gogo is there. But we've told you, you've called me on air, you've DM'd me, and I said you need to get this checked out. It's not going to get away, it's not going to go anywhere. It doesn't matter how many questions you ask me, it's not going to take anything away. How long with the best. Can you swap, because your babes will be louder than my talk? Swap with somebody else. I'm not asking you to move, because I'm not going to ask anyone to move, because you're probably bepping there. But I'm just trying for audiobility's sake, because I don't have a mic on. So it means that if somebody's close to the mic of the camera and they're bepping, the sound becomes a problem. But I've had people say, "Ooh, who's the gogo, the noise?" I've got children in the house. So remember, this is an offering. So you work with me with what I come with. Because this is a service that is saying I am of service. When somebody's of service, we become very receptive. We want to make it perfect and ideal, but it's perfect as it is. And maybe those turbulences are an invitation for you to deal with your own discomforts. So without me getting too far in my talk, what is the first question? Same story.
Togoza, what are some of the major symptoms that one has a calling, mental and physical?
Ooh, child.
This is from Kuti 8.
Child, you haven't really been going on my Instagram page. You haven't been really going on my YouTube. I have been preaching the same things. You see, the thing is that the first thing, you know when you've got something within you that is not right. And you know when you've got something that probably tells you that it is a calling. Am I not right, Gogo, in the space? We all knew, right? We all knew something, and our own denial kept on wanting people to give us signs and symptoms. Because when we become dependent on the external, when the encounters or the journeys we embark on, we can shift the responsibility to somebody else. But I always say, Uguti, I will speak to those who are new and naive to this. But please go on my YouTube channel, because there is series of videos where I speak about how does somebody know they've got ubizo. You cannot say you've got ubizo if you have not connected to ubizo itself. And dreams are an incremental part of that connection. So if you have not dreamt anything that symbolizes Uguti wena upiwe, so if you don't have basic dreams of like the animals, the wild animals, the water and all of those things, if you don't have a heightened sense of intuition where, Papi, you have to go attend. Papi has to go because Sia wants to come. You know, Sia is our son. So let's invite him today. Open the door. Let's see. Gena Sia. I'm sure Sia will answer some questions. So dreams are very important. At a psychological level, what people tend to also experience is mental disorders or mental illness. Not all mental illness are a sign of a calling, but not all mental illness are also a sign of a psychological imbalance. Because remember, when something is deeply suppressed, it will manifest itself as depression. So if you're deeply suppressing the messages that the ancestors are communicating or telling you, then what happens is that you would experience those things, because here you are being shown or things you're seeing, but you are in denial or in resistance of it. It persists, and then you get out of sync and out of tune. Some people get physically unwell without understanding what's physically wrong. You move from one medical diagnosis to another. The next thing is an extreme backache. It's persistent headaches that never go away. Nothing medically can be found that's wrong with you. So when you've been having symptoms that nothing else seems to take them away, possibilities that are spiritual, and you need to look at them. But some things might actually look like the calling, but it's not the calling. It's an ancestral misalignment. And what I mean by ancestral misalignment, like umntwana ongayenzwelanga imbeleko might experience. It's hello, Sia. It's hello there. Say hello to everyone. It's I love my khocho. You love your khocho. So it's those things, you know. So I think I need this. So I cannot list for you different things and state, because you might not be experiencing any of those things. The best way you know how to put you are gifted, like I said, I had dreams. That was a given for me, but all the other symptoms I did not have that resembled or that would give me an indication that I had a calling. So you need to make sure that if you're not feeling well and you feel it's a calling, go check it out. Why don't you go consult and find if it's a calling?
Lady KK, Togoza Gogo, how can I regain my connection with Madluzi Aga?
Yo, Gogo, that's a very broad one, because I can't say go phahla, because some people buy a phahla kwaphehlela amanzi amnyama ekhaya, and then it brings a dark cloud and then it makes things worse than it is, because there are things that get done in families that actually can be of a distraction for us to try activate it, you know. But try and have a connection with your ancestors, which Patla is one of them. That's why I say everything I'm going to give here, take it with a pinch of salt, because there are reasons why our families have also stopped doing certain things. Not all of them are because of colonization or the demonization of African practices, but because there were certain things that were done that had a dark side to it. Then the family moved away because they did not want to evoke darkness in the family. So that is also very important. But part is an incremental part to begin connection, because ancestors to us are like what I always say, roots to a tree. And if we are not connected to those roots, a tree that is not deeply connected is unable to bear healthy fruit.
Pumzili says, "Thokoza bogogo nabomkhulu. My question is on candle. Ka do you have to use old-fashioned, skinny, tall candles, or can one use pillar or any candles in the relevant colors?"
I think for me, I'm the one who believes spirit directs you. Whatever that feels right for you, I can come and say same old, because you need to understand the ancestral world does not work with the cognitive and the spirit world. So let's say 10 years from now, those skinny old-fashioned candles run out of fashion and all we have it's those nice ones. So does it mean we stop partnering using a candle? So use what makes sense to you. But if you've got an ancestral spirit that can only be drawn closer to you by inviting it with something like that, then you use it. And you like, let's say you have to partner with a purple color and you can't find it in a normal candle, so you don't stop it, you find something that's an alternative, and we are bigger, because ancestral relationships are like the relationships you'd have with anybody else. So can you imagine if somebody, you ask them for a piece of chicken and they get you a piece of steak? How would you feel about it? You'd feel like not heard, not respected. But if somebody says, hey, I looked for chicken, but I heard that you're hungry and I know you love steak, today I got you steak. So that on its own soothes the situation.
Queen Maluda, how do I heal from domestic violence and its trauma?
Gogo, you need to seek professional help. Gogo can't give you a one-on-one on how to heal from that. But one is that you need to acknowledge that whatever happened to you, you didn't invite it. It is not your fault. People who are toxic on their own want to make other people feel like they are toxins, and that's why they experience the violence. Abuse it, irrespective. And never take responsibility for something that is not yours. Yes, you might be screamed or pushed him or push her, whatever the situation is, but you need emotional support, you need psychological support, you need to go back to self-love, so you do not go back to inviting the same, because unhealed wounds invite more woundedness. And if we move from one relationship to the other carrying past wounds, all we are inviting is same experiences, because people are triggers. People are triggers, and take responsibility for your part in it, because a lot of us see those subtle signs and things, and this is not to blame yourself, but is to make yourself wiser. So when you enter into another relationship, you are much more alert and aware of what is for you and what is not for you. So you're not signing up for something that's going to take away your own dignity and your own sense of worthiness.
Bye. Most of the people Kulu, they're sending their love. They said they've missed you so much.
I missed you too, guys. It's been long. But you see me, but I've missed this.
And then Prosperity 89 to Gogo, how can I consult?
With me. So 074 210 2089. 074 210 2089. It's Gogo Klodi's WhatsApp line. Be patient with her. She gets a gazillion of messages daily. And be persistent. If you're struggling, DM me. But what happens is that she sends a standard message and people don't read that message. And then they come back and say, no, she didn't. Because she'll send you a standard message. And if you're not clear what type of consultation, because we've got online, we've got one-on-ones with me, with one-on-ones with the Gogos in the space that do the consultations. We've got other healers who work outside the space who might be located closer to you. So if you're not very specific, it becomes difficult. Because even when I hold the phone, it's like there's 3 messages that come every 5 minutes, and sometimes people don't really want to consult. They want to ask a long list of questions. She's not there for that, and she's not going to respond, and some people say, oh no, but why is this and that? No, this is how we work. If it doesn't work for you, it's okay, because we're probably not for everyone.
Awulindke utithokoza Gogo with a big heart. Ngiyawutlwa ke tshwara ke moya.
Ne? What's so funny? Yeah?
Ulind 79 Oti, I'm so happy to connect Gogo. My question is, what does the future hold for me in terms of growth and health?
I wish I had psychic abilities and I could tap in. And I do, but I'm not about that.
Togoza Gogo, u Tinjirajike, yo. Togoza Gogo, what would you advise someone who has the calling but has not gone for initiation because of things have not fallen into place yet as I'm receiving information piece by piece?
But what hasn't fallen into place? The minute you find out you've got a calling, you need a spiritual mentor. And this is not your trainer, but this is somebody who's going to align you and help you be connected deeply to a path where your ancestors are able to show you where you need to go to. That's number one, because you cannot interpret the omens and the symbols that your ancestors are giving you without somebody who's been through that process themselves, you know, because it's very difficult sometimes, because remember, spirit does not always speak directly. So that's number one, because some people are like, I'm waiting, but you're not doing anything to activate it, because you need to activate so that you are deepening the connection and the messages can get clearer and clearer. But if you're getting messages, after you've woken up with a dream, just partner to acknowledge the message and ask for more clarity. That's number two. And do whatever it takes to make sure that you get activated, right? And I say to people, and I know people make a mockery of things, but I laugh at people, because if you don't know something, you will make mockery of it. But if you know something, you will celebrate it. Because there's a difference between ubungoma and understanding ancestors. Those are two different things. Ubungoma is understanding the practice of healing and the gifts that come with it. But understanding ancestors, it means that you understand another layer, because amatlu zagafani. And that's why not all of us who are called to be sangomas are called to be gobelas. Because one who then gets the gift of training others, it means that your level of understanding ngobungoma, it's slightly elevated, because you will take people through processes before you take them through initiation to distill and filter if this one has idlozi elithwaselwayo or engathasweli. Because even if umuntu asephehlweni kuvela izinkinga, there are things that come forward that you need to fix before you actually take them through the process of initiation. So somebody who has very little understanding of the world of ancestry will fail to recognize certain things that might hinder their ancestral journey.
Usizakele uthi Gogo, my child passed on 6 months ago. What do I do next?
My sincere condolences. What does your family do when there's passing on? Because as much as I'm a Gogo, but some things I don't interfere with, because they're family traditions. And if you're hearing me, send me a follow-up question. If they don't do anything, then I can respond. You know, but a cleansing is very important. And I always say, you know, the whole process of mourning for us as Africans is to recognize that the physical body that we've had living with us in this plane is no more, and it's to help it transcend and be one with the spirit world. But it's also helping us to mourn, because you detach from the physical attachments in which you had with that child, and then you are saying to them, may they come to you in their presence of spirit, and may you not hold on to the physical that's no more, because it will make it very difficult for you to want to mother again, because the fears of a loss of a child will always be haunting you. But also do the necessary things to make sure that emotionally and psychologically you're feeling healed, because death triggers a lot of things in us. We want to take responsibility for what we could have seen or not done or done right, because we live in a society that expects us to know it all or ace things. But some things are just meant to be what they're meant to be, because children also sign contracts when they come, and we all have chosen how we're going to depart from this plane.
I love you, Uti Gogo. Please explain the color candle meaning. Someone said a red candle is dangerous, it must not be light.
No, I posted, and I'll repost it, the different meanings of colors. Each candle, each and everything in this world has a dark and a light side. It depends on what you are evoking. Right? So nothing, even me, I have my dark shadow. Right? But it's and you can't run away from your dark shadow, because some of us run away from the dark sides of us, and by running away, actually we are harboring them, because anything in the dark grows. The same thing, a baby grows in the dark, so you give it life. But when you can acknowledge it and be aware of it and see how it can be a gift to you than a hindrance, then you can work with it. So red candle can ignite passion, red candle can ignite protection, red candle can ignite a lot of other things. I use it protector, but always balance it with something else. You know, I always speak about the power of the white candle, because it's a neutral color. You also see anything you put white on, white absorbs. If you put black, white will be black. So anything you do, white takes on. So put it with something else. If you're needing protection or you're needing to ignite something that feels dull inside you, you can use the candle. You know, everything we use is a tool, but it's about how you use the tool. We can use a knife to cut bread, or you can use a knife to stab someone. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it's that's plain and simple. That's why in Tanduguti, witchcraft does not begin with mood, it begins in somebody else's psyche. You know, the minute you start to have evil intent, you're going to do whatever it takes to execute the evil intent to an extent of doing an act itself. Because if in your psyche nothing like that is harbored, you will not have the courage to go and do something that's going to bring somebody harm.
Kuti 8 at Gogo, what causes drain of energy, especially when you move into spaces with a large crowd and you yearn and want to sleep?
So a lot of people who are empaths or light workers or cult people or spiritual people, there are many names, those of us who are called that we could be. Sangomas, light workers, empaths. You know, there's many names, and all of those names, they speak to each other, but some have unique attributes. Like, you know, a Sangoma, a psychic, there might be, it means we are all spiritually gifted people, but the field of practice might differ depending on the specifications of your calling. So when you are somebody who's gifted, you're a sponge. You easily absorb other people's energies very easily. So you need to do yourself a favor. Every time you go into crowd space, I can never say avoid crowd spaces, because sometimes you're gonna go to crowd spaces. So that's why you'd go and then do an Epsom salt bath. That's very good, it clears energy. You can do a cost salt bath, that also, so you can do a Beppo bath. That's also very good for you. But it could also be an indication that you need a proper full-on cleansing, because you've been carrying a lot of toxins within your body, because cleanses have also treatments that are attached to it, upalaza, ukata, ukfuta, that can release some deep embedded toxins within the body or within your aura or energetic vibration.
Saneliswa Saints Uti Gogo, my question. We know about Umdawo, Mgunya ancestors, etc. But do cave-based ancestors exist?
You see, there's a lot of different types of ancestors. There's Nzunza, there is Balozi, there's many types. And we know about Umguni and Mdawo, and I think it became quite predominant. I mean, it's my assumption, it's not a fact that I'm making, you know, post 1994. And my sense of the Ndao spirit becoming so prominent is because of also migration that happened. It's because our own ancestors moved from one place of residence to other places to find refuge during the political struggle, because we've got many of our ancestors abafele mazweni, you know, and because Ndao is a Sia, sit, Sia, la paix, Sia, so you know, but there are ancestors that also died in the cave. We might not call them, because Ndao is just an ancestral spirit, because there's people who are called the Ndao tribe, which you find in Mozambique, you find in Zimbabwe, you find you know, some of them in Limpopo as well. But then there's Ndao spirit that comes through the body that has unresolved things, that through initiation those things get resolved. So you cannot just say that this is what, because your dreams again are incremental, because the type of things you dream have to be associated to that ancestral spirit. So you cannot be dreaming of ilentuzana amakevi kuphela bese sithi unenzunza yasemanzini. Those two things don't speak, you know. You cannot be dreaming of a certain cloth, but that cloth has nothing to do with the Ndao spirit, because some people banehlozi confuse lo Mdawo ngoba kunomdawo, kunomdiki, kunomdliwa. So the difference between the three is that umdliwa is somebody that passed on a kaya, who was maybe of a foreign national. I mean, in Africa, we can never really say we are foreigners, because this belongs to all of us. Africa belongs to the people of the continent. So it's a political term we use that came from colonization about the borders. But if somebody moved from their place of residence and came and rented a house at your backyard and they died and they never were buried by the family, or they were buried but their spirit was never taken, that's why the significance of taking the spirit, to allow for the spirit to transition and knows that it doesn't belong there anymore. Because it's unrested. Then kuba nedlozi elidikizelayo bathi umdiki abamathi uhlelo umdiki, so that could be idlozi elifuna ukuhlaliseka kahle phezu kwakho. And that's why for me, you know, when somebody has a gift, it's very important to go through distilling processes. One of the things that I know is through amakobongo. And ikobongo is not only for abantu abanedlozi elithwasayo, because omunye umntwana ohlushwa igama likagogo fanele lo gogo ayom align kuye uyadikizela, because they were igama likagogo wanikwa kuphela alicelwanga, or lo gogo lobo kumthakathi manje sekafika ngale mikhuba yakhe kulo mntwana, so fanele kuyolungiselwa kuhlelwe kahle. One, I saw a video, Dr. Vivi Omkiza, one of somebody I look up to, interviewing somebody on SABC, and this person said actually South Africans need amakobongo more than uktwasa, because now everybody needs twasa, everybody needs twasa, everybody needs twasa. Yes, there's many of us that are called now because we are reclaiming back African spirituality, we are reclaiming back our identity as Africans, because it's been hundreds of years where we have lost ourselves within the religions of the Western world. So we need to reclaim, and we need a lot of warriors who can actually go and do these missions. Hence, a lot of us are now coming forward, because the calling has always been there, but a lot of us are coming forward. But some of us come forward without actually distilling if that's the way in which we need to come forward, because omunye uyenzelwa izinto is right, then everything aligns. Ungayenza kwenziwa imbeleko ekhaya bese khumuza abantu basekhaya ukuthi imbeleko ibaleke kangakanani, but you didn't have to go through twasa to do imbeleko. You know, I once said on one of the streams with ubheke basutwini namanye amasiko, some of the things they do are very similar to initiation processes, because we have lost our rituals and we've lost our ways as Africans. Some of us have to go through that process of initiation to reclaim back those rituals. That's why you need to do a distiller, because a distiller will distinguish what type of ancestral calling, because we are here because our spirit is called for something. But are you called into a process of initiation? Are you called to become a healer? And ngeke run away marulo kubona umhlali ukuthi ayazi mina ngeke ubona umhlali ubona amabhayi ubona isibhubesi usemanzini unezangoma uyagida. You really can't say ukuthi it's not me. You know, those are quite evident dreams that this is the path you might need to walk into. But ungathi phuphu gogo sigida together so gogo uzongithwasisa, that's a very simple dream. You know, I say to people, somebody asked me, Gogo, you share so much, but I never share a lot about my rituals. I don't share about what I do in the initiation school. That's not for everyone to know. I mean, even Laba who have not been through certain sacred rituals, we don't allow for them to experience it, because we're denying you your own experiences, because we are then projecting and we are implanting things. So that's why Ngendwaso we don't have a lot of videos, because we don't take videos to show up. And it's not that we don't want to share, but we don't want to jeopardize you who is called and is called to come to me for me to initiate you. And then the next thing, ulapaya ut, hi madam coming pupu kokong ibonile mo figure la genyiwe phehlweni bese uyangihlupha. Yeah, understand, like, yeah, but I'm not sure anymore. Don't come and do initiation if you're not sure. You know, this is not I mean, for me, you know, people need to understand which there's Gogo Dineo who is this form, and then there's abantu engihamba nabo mokuvuke esinye isikopho esikrom kanjani so tell kanti gogo uso you forget ukuthi there's two, you know, we are one, but there's different parts of me that play different roles to serve different aspects of the people who have come to my space. You know, Martin Luther King speaks about power and love, and power alone is abusive and reckless, but love alone is anemic and sentimental. And some of us can try to love so much because asifuna ukulusa matwasa, or I want people to say I look good, but you're not enabling their gifts, because omunye uhamba nogogo ofuna protect masimba akho manje. You know, they want that feminist, because sihamba, especially if you're going to initiate umnguni, those people were warriors. Ankhumbula ushakathi sesiyahlasela ke madoda, khiphani imkhonto. Do you understand?
You need to keep them calm right now because they are waiting on the others. No. Kumalo mtungu. Wenzani? You understand? There's something with the authority that's required, but there's also an aspect of love in which you can do that without breaking the person altogether. But some of us come into initiation broken already, and all the Kobela does for you is trigger those wounds and trigger those wounds and trigger those wounds. And that's why I'm saying Ubungoma alone cannot save the broken human, because other things that broke you, were rebirthing you into Bungoma but have nothing to do with Ubungoma. So if you don't heal those aspects of you, you'll be a wounded healer, and wounded healer he wounds other healers. So that's why it's very important as a healer that you've got your own healers. I always speak, I'm unapologetic and unashamed. I have a therapist, I've got a medical doctor, I've got a life coach, I've got all those, I've got a massage therapist, because who heals me? I'm busy healing you right now, but who do I go to release my stuff and all those things too? Because then if I don't do anything about my own baggage, I'm going to be projecting my own baggage too. That's also feeling next week. Who am I God to you now? I'm not God. I posted something about a healer is the one that ignites you to heal yourself, because a healer is the one that can make somebody see their own ability of power.
Sure.
Because if you're a healer and you want to overpower, you wouldn't. But if you say to somebody, "Yazo powerful gangaganan," and to allow them, and if that person is vibrating at a lower energy frequency and they are in an egotistic state because that's a lower vibration, they'll take that power and use it to destruct other people's life. But a healer that's elevated and vibrating much higher knows which there's nothing wrong in celebrating other people's greatness.
Mucho.
You understand? Because I think that's why abantu basabuk twasa, instead of us celebrating ubani, instead somebody else wants to do what you do. No, we're not all called to do the same things. There can never be 10 Gogo Dineos. Right? Somebody said you can never be a best copycat because you're going to self-sabotage. Because all of us, it took me years to cultivate this gift, and it became clearer over the years that my calling was to become a spiritual teacher. And as a spiritual teacher, it means my ancestors will make ways and platforms in which for me to teach. I don't go seeking for them. They come to me because in that way, I know indeed I am called to serve in that way. Nothing that the Spirit calls you should feel like it's a hard work. It should feel challenging because it's growth. But the minute it feels like, something is not right. I said some words.
Yo, I am much.
Got to do some stuff.
Tato Pel Ati Togoza Gogo, I would like to know, what are spiritual animals and what are their roles in our lives? Do we need to connect with them? When I was young, I used to see a tiger as if it was around my room.
Yeah. Okay, big cats. All the cats, tigers, lions, leopards, cheetahs, all of them have a huge symbolism to royalty. So those who are born of a royal bloodline would normally be seen around those things. That's why I say to Upupa, izwanza semakosi nabanye matutoso of course. So obunyu kosi, it's you have to go through kosi bok twasa to be a healer, because when you're a healer you get elevated in society because you're playing an incremental role that serves the bigger whole. But some of you, of course, you need to sit on the throne and lead the nation. That's why we are called. There's chieftaincy, there's kingship that one has not taken, and you go through initiation of Ubungoma, and that's not what you were supposed to go through. You were supposed to go through initiation of being king or chief. So, and also animals are our own totems, because when we went and traveled from East Central Africa as Africans, we traveled from north all the way to different parts of the continent. We'd always pay close attention to nature because that's how God spoke to us. That's how we saw the presence of God. So when we got there and we found a presence of Dikwena, Rerebakwena, it's because we knew that in their presence we'd also have God's protection and we'd have God's presence. That's why we do not kill animals and we slaughter them, because we revere the life in which that reside, because that's God's life in there. Our God is not in a church. Our God is in every living thing. So treat everything with kindness, love, and care, because in it, it's God. And by treating that thing in that way, you are treating the God in you with greatness.
Zanimbe utitogoza gogo, I have abantu abadala. I've been sick with headaches for almost 4 years now. I've been dreaming, but they are not clear to me. How do I go about getting my dreams to be clear so I can be shown?
Yeah, so it depends what is blocking the dreams. There's multiple things. I've spoken about diet before, like try avoid eating just before you go to bed. Give yourself 2 hours for the food to do some digestion. Red meat takes about 48 hours to digest, up to 3 days. So if you're eating something heavy, it means when you are sleeping, your body's tired. For you to recall your dream experiences clearly becomes a bit of a difficulty. If there's been a series of deaths in the family and you have not cleansed, it means the spirit guides you walk with have not transitioned properly, so the communication gets bled out, right? And it could also be that they've been telling you things but you have not been responding to them. So if you keep on calling somebody, they don't answer your call, what do? You stop calling them. So there could be multiple reasons that you do it. These are just DIYs, but DIYs don't apply to everyone and don't work to everyone. I say diet is very important. I say also make sure that your phone is not on, because phones also are very destructive. Another thing is to just put a white cloth on top of that, just to clear the energy and things, just to make sure that the connection. And if that doesn't work, then go see someone, because it means the blockage is bigger than that.
Lux, Titogoza Gogo, what does it mean when you dream of a baby changing into an animal while holding the baby?
What animal is that? Please tell me.
Ayanda Dlodlo too, uti, I have umoya and it's from my father's side, but I'm using my mother's surname. Is that a problem? That's a question mark. I have consulted many times, and lately I've been struggling from headaches.
Okay. So Gogo, you have umoya. I spoke about headaches earlier on, so that's an indication. Because remember, headaches,